Hey, tribe, welcome back. This is RayTube practice question number 19, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's jump into it. A social worker has been dating someone for the past 5 months and believes things are going really well. The social worker was invited by the man to attend a friends and family cookout, which the social worker agreed to go. Upon arriving at the cookout, the social worker sees one of her clients at the cookout. The social worker finds out that her client is related to the man she is currently dating. The client was noticeably uncomfortable throughout the cookout. How should the social worker respond to this dual relationship? Should the social worker A, discuss the situation with the client at the next session? B, speak with her boyfriend and the client about the situation to make it less uncomfortable at future events? C, inform the boyfriend that she can no longer date him to avoid a dual relationship? Or D, begin looking for another boyfriend? So, as always, pause the video, reread through the question, reread through the answer choices, select your best answer, unpause the video, and then we'll dive into the explanation. Okay. If you picked A, you are correct. Why? Let's actually go to the other answer choices first. So B, speak with her boyfriend and the client about the situation to make it less uncomfortable at future events. This is incorrect. Why? This is a major no-no because it breaks the confidentiality you have with your client. Family or not, the client may not want anyone knowing they are in therapy. It's also not the boyfriend's job to be a part of this situation. So again, remember, confidentiality, right? Just because someone's related, like a family member, right? We could just say like, oh yeah, we can disclose that they're in therapy, information and stuff like, nope, even if we're not giving details of why they're in therapy, we can't even disclose that they're a client. Confidentiality, right? So that's why B is just a no-no. C is incorrect. Why? First off, if the social worker told her boyfriend why she was ending the relationship, that would break confidentiality with the client. So that's a no-no. So it's like, hey, sorry, we have to break up. We can't see each other anymore because, your cousin, whoever, that's actually my client. And, I'm a therapist and that's breaking confidentiality. Secondly, realistically, again, putting ourselves in that scenario, realistically, would you end a relationship with your romantic partner if you were in this situation as the social worker? Most likely not, right? You are able to have a personal life. If you knew that they were related prior to the relationship, that's different. You just would, nope, that's wouldn't. You just wouldn't be involved with them because we want to avoid a dual relationship whenever possible. In this situation, the social worker didn't know, as they say, small world, right? Because if the social worker knew like, oh, this person is related to a client, let's say they had the same last name, let's say they looked alike or like however, it just so happened to find out that like, oh, they're related type of thing prior to anything, avoid it, different, right? But didn't know. It's different last names, or even if they had the same last name, how about if it's something really common like Johnson or something like that? We don't know. And then D, begin looking for another boyfriend. That's incorrect. Why? Again, would you realistically end a relationship that was going well? Most likely not. And then A, discuss the situation with the client at the next session. That's correct. Why? Life has thrown the social worker a curveball, and the social worker has unintentionally, emphasis on unintentionally, found herself in a dual relationship. Remember, dual relationship is a relationship outside of the professional setting. And according to the NASW Code of Ethics, dual or multiple relationships occur when social workers relate to clients in more than one relationship, whether professional, social, again, they met at a cookout, or business. Dual or multiple relationships can occur simultaneously or consecutively. So again, above all, we want to avoid dual or multiple relationships whenever possible. Why? Simply put, we don't want anything to negatively or unfairly influence how we provide services to clients. In this scenario, the social worker didn't know the person she was dating was related to her client. So when we talk about we don't want anything to negatively or just unfairly influence how we're providing services. So, for example, because the social worker is dating that family member that's related to the client, let's say if the social worker is giving them extra time during a session or just extra favoritism compared to the other clients, that's not fair. Or let's just say if the relationship is, rocky, and now the social worker is, whether intentionally or unintentionally, taking it out on that client, right? Because it's like, oh, like I have a, issue with, your family member, your cousin or something like that. And maybe even something start to leak out of, you need to talk to your cousin or something. And it's like, we just want to avoid any of that. Because it's one thing to say, oh, we wouldn't do that and da-da-da. But it's like, let's just avoid it altogether. And reflecting on 1.06 conflicts of interest, social workers should be alert to and avoid conflicts of interest that interfere with the exercise of professional discretion and impartial judgment. Social workers should inform clients when a real or potential conflict of interest arises and take reasonable steps to resolve the issue in a manner that makes the client's interest primary and protects client's interests to the greatest extent possible. In some cases, protecting clients' interests may require termination of the professional relationship with proper referral to of the client. And then C of 1.06, social workers should not engage in dual or multiple relationships with clients or former clients in which there's a risk of exploitation or potential harm to the client. In instances when dual or multiple relationships are unavoidable, hence, hey, we met at a cookout, like, what are you going to do, right? Social workers should take steps to protect clients and are responsible for setting clear, appropriate, and culturally sensitive boundaries. So it's not like, oh, we're just going to be hanging out now, seeing the client and, but because you're a family member, nothing like that. Dual or multiple relationships occur when social workers relate to clients in more than one relationship, whether professional, social, or business. Dual or multiple relationships can occur simultaneously or consecutively. The question stated, the client was noticeably uncomfortable throughout the cookout. So the client clearly felt some type of way seeing the social worker there. Even if the client was cool with it, you would still want to discuss the situation with the client at the next session. So again, when we scroll back up and look at the answer choices of A, discuss the situation with the client at the next session, that is correct because we want to get their perspective on everything. And they could say like, yeah, I felt really uncomfortable. And again, does that result in you saying like, okay, don't worry, I'll break up with him immediately. I'll kind of just like kind of ghost him because remember confidentiality. I'll just ghost him, no worries and everything like that. It's like, no, because if we go back, how about that was your fiance? Would you just break up with your fiance? Again, you didn't know. We will want to discuss it with them because, again, conflicts of interest. In some cases, protecting clients' interests may require termination of the professional relationship with proper referral of the client. And we don't want to just go into the same scenario. We don't just want to meet with the client and say, you got to be terminated type of thing. We want to discuss it with them because they could say, yeah, that's fine. And then again, on our end, we would discuss and set clear, appropriate boundaries where, we may not attend like all these cookouts and stuff like that. And again, realistically, if you're, dating, that's your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, I imagine you're not necessarily hanging out with the third party. So those type of situations may not come up regularly. And if it was a situation where it's like, whoa, Ray, how about, when you're dating someone, you do hang out with another person regularly because it's one of those curveballs and stuff, seeking supervision, discussing it with another colleague, because again, the context matters. But nonetheless, we would still want to discuss it with the client, get their perspective on it, and, move accordingly. And then when we reflect back again on B, speak with her boyfriend and the client about the situation to make it less uncomfortable at future events. No, breaking confidentiality by informing the boyfriend. So that's just a no. And it's not the boyfriend's role. C, inform the boyfriend that she can no longer date him to avoid a dual relationship. Again, that would still kind of be telling him, which is breaking confidentiality. And realistically, you don't have to just end your relationship and then D begin looking for another boyfriend. And then some of you would say like, Ray, how about you wanted to end the relationship? Well, I mean, I guess that it kind of works out in that regard. But again, it says the social worker believes things are going really well. So I don't know if you necessarily want to end a relationship that you believe is going really well. Okay, tribe, that's it for today's video. Thank you for tuning in. That was, again, RayTube practice question number 19. You know what I always say, doing at least 2 practice questions a day helps keep the exam anxiety at bay. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell a social work friend because we don't want to be licensed by ourselves. Okay, tribe, I'll see you next video.